you doing, everybody? And welcome in to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trag. I'm your host, Trag. It is Tuesday, June 10th, a fantastic Tuesday, June 10th. Lots of great stuff happening yesterday in Wisconsin sports. I mean, for the first time in a while, I could say we got more really going on than what's going on with the Brewers. I mean, big storylines, right? Big storylines, a lot more happening yesterday than the Brewers. So, lots to tap into, lots to get to. Let's jump into it today here. So, right away, I want to mention the Bucks are in the news. Darvin Ham is going to join Doc Rivers and be one of his lead assistants on the Bucks roster. Now, a lot of you are going to be like, well, you know, we saw what happened out there with the Lakers. Why is this good? Why is this, a great thing? Well, I mean, you look at what happened with the Lakers, a 90-74 record overall. Not terrible by any stretch. But you're talking about a guy who was an assistant coach on the Bucks team under Mike Budenholzer when they did make the title run. He was there. He was right there. I mean, lead assistant when they made the title run there. This is a guy, he knows how to work with stars. He knows how to make it work, right? His first job coming out of the G League, he worked with the Lakers. He was actually on the Lakers at one point before he actually became the head coach. I mean, he worked with Kobe, he worked with Paul Gasol, he worked with Dwight Howard as player developmental coach from 2011 to 2012. He was with the Lakers there before ending up with Mike Budenholzer out there. And I believe, wasn't it Toronto there? Atlanta, sorry about that. Atlanta there. He was with from 2013 until 2018 before coming to the Bucks there with Budenholzer. So, I mean, you look at Darvin Ham, you say, this is a guy who, he's been there, done that assistant coach. He's worked in player development. He knows how to work guys. He was at one point a G League coach. This is another one of those, you could say one of those stories, right? He coached in the G League there for a little while, jumped up really fast while he was in the G League, rose really fast, got a head coaching job down there in the G League before coming up to the league and becoming a developmental coach there for the Lakers, ending up with the Hawks, then ending up with the Bucks. Now he's with the Lakers. Now he just lost his job with the Lakers. Now he's back with the Bucks. Maybe he's a guy who fits better into that assistant coach's role. That could be a good spot for him. I mean, you look at that Lakers team, though. Can you really say that it was Darvin Ham's fault? I mean, can you really say Russell barely showed up, right, towards the end. LeBron James is at the end he's past his prime. I don't care what anybody wants to say. He's past his prime. LeBron James is past his prime. Let's just get over that fact right now. He's past his prime. So you have an aged LeBron James. You have D'Angelo Russell, who was checked out long before that. He's eating snacks on the bench there by himself while everybody else is talking. Anthony Davis, he fell on the floor once. They said he had a concussion and he left in a wheelchair. You don't know what even is going to happen with that guy. Can you really blame Darvin Ham? Because from what I've seen, a lot of the play calls and everything go through LeBron. LeBron's calling he's basically the coach of this team. So you want to blame Darvin Ham. It's like almost blaming Adrian Griffin for the downfall of the Bucks to start. Do you really want to blame it on Adrian Griffin? Not a bad record to start. Had the Bucks, well above 500, and then lost his job. Can you blame that all on Adrian Griffin? Can you blame it on some personnel every once in a while? Maybe you can. I don't blame Darvin Ham's complete what happened with the Lakers there. Never, they made it to the Western Conference Finals, right? But never making it to the finals, never getting that team back there. Can you blame it on Darvin Ham? Bits and pieces, probably, right? There's probably some bits and pieces throughout there. Maybe he should have called timeout here. Maybe he should have done this here. I get those. I completely understand those. I just don't think, from what I saw, that I can sit here and say Darvin Ham was the reason why the Lakers didn't do this or they didn't do that. You have an aged roster. In all reality, with the Lakers, you had an aged roster. You're trying to get it done with LeBron, AD. Those are your two stars, and they're aged stars. You look at where the league's trending, young superstars, right? Not LeBron. He's in the past. That's the past, right? AD, kind of falling off the table right now. I don't blame Darvin Ham out there. So I think it's an excellent an excellent pickup for the Bucks coaching staff to get Darvin Ham in there. Whether it's to be Doc's assistant for now and maybe take his job at some point, I don't know. It could go multiple different ways, but as of right now, I love pairing those two up. Darvin Ham has experience working with Giannis, working with Middleton, working with Brook Lopez, Bobby. A couple other guys on this roster. He's seen these guys. He knows how they operate. He knows how to be a glue guy in there when he has to be. He's been there, done that with most of his Bucks roster outside of Damian Lillard. He has worked with a lot of these guys. And, there's going to be fresh faces in there and everything like that. But he's worked with the stars. He knows how to align them, right? So I love it. I love the signing of Darvin Ham. I think it brings that element of the Budenholzer era where we did see the Bucks win a championship, where we saw them have some pretty darn good seasons. It brings a little bit of that back into Milwaukee, a little bit of that what they need back into Milwaukee there. So I love the signing. Love the signing by the Milwaukee Bucks there. In other news, in college basketball news, this is getting a little Badger news. We haven't been talking about the Badgers too much as of late here. And I want to jump into them because they had a massive signing. They got a guy out of Serbia there. I don't even know how to say his name there. Andrea Vukovic. I'm going to go with that is close enough for me. A 6'11 freshman there, signed up with the Badgers. Looking at his stats from over in Serbia there, he played for the KK Versik. If I butcher these names, you guys can just get over it, all right? Look it up, sound it out yourselves. These aren't words that I'm used to, all right? He played for them in the basketball league in Serbia, a top-tier pro league. Averaged 6.1 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 0.7 assists per game. The year prior, he averaged 17 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game in Serbia's junior league and shot 65% from the floor there. I was close enough. Andrea Vukovic. It's in the ballpark there. I mean, so now you look at this Badgers roster. We were looking for a big man, right? We were looking for a big man. They needed a big man. I mean, Steven Crowell going into his last season here with the Badgers, and you needed a backup big man. Nolan Winter wasn't going to be that guy. He has some size to him, but you would rather see Nolan Winter fill into more of a power forward kind of position, not your center, right? So I think this adds another element to the Badgers where now they have that center, right? You have Steven Crowell to kind of be the scapegoat right now, but you're hoping that this guy, I mean, he's probably, looking at him, he's got some filling out to do, right? You're going to want to see this guy fill out a little bit, muscle up, right? It happens with a lot of freshmen coming in to the Big Ten there, but this is a great, I think it's a fantastic signing for Greg Gard and the Badgers. I really do. We talked about it. Where do the Badgers have needs? We're like, okay, it's got to be in the big man, right? We wanted a guy who could back up Steven Crowell, who could be a dominant force in the paint, a big body, right? We needed a big body, somebody with a little bit of height there that could help defend some of these bigger guys in the Big Ten, control the paint. That's where it seems like, you really watch Big Ten basketball. That's where games are won and lost, is in the paint, right? You can shoot as well as you want from downtown, but if you can shut down a team in the paint or deter them from even getting there, it gives you a pretty good shot in the Big Ten to win ball games. That's what this guy is. This guy is going to be a big play stopper in the paint there for the Badgers. So I love the signing. Pair him up there with Steven Crowell. Give him a little bit of those. You're going to rotate those two around a little bit. Maybe Nolan Winter gets in there a little bit, but Nolan Winter can kind of get into that number 4 role now, the Tyler Wall role. The best part about Nolan Winter is if he develops in the post a little bit, gets a little bit bigger, you have that 3-point game with Nolan Winter. If he gets consistent out there, that is, you can't beat it right there. And then you have guys like Jack Robinson coming in, Daniel Freitag. You got the transfers coming in. This Badger team is starting to take shape. Now, are you going to sit here and say, well, we know, right? You can't. You have Max Klesmit coming back, right? Kamari McGee, you have simple pieces coming back here and there, but Chucky's gone. Tyler Wall's gone. AJ Store's gone. Connor Esiasion's gone. So you have some pieces that you have to fill in now. But this is a great move by Greg Gard. Great move here to get him in there. Is he done in the transfer portal or in signing guys? I don't think so. I really don't. I could see him maybe looking out there yet, but the way that the roster is kind of sitting now, this is about what you would expect, unless we take somebody off the roster, right? But outside of that, I mean, this is kind of what you would expect from the Badgers to kind of stick with at this point. Now, maybe he redshirts a guy. I don't know. That opens up a spot. That could be a potential move that we could see Greg Gard make. I don't know. I didn't see this move coming. So from this, you never know now. You never know. We lost a lot. We've gained some here. Hopefully the pieces that they've gained outweigh what we lost, and we can get some of that production back, because you lost a lot of production there from Wall to Store to Chucky Hepburn. You lost a lot of production. Connor Esiason coming off the bench with a little bit of a three-point threat. You've lost the production of some guys. What do we see out of some of these guys coming in? That's going to be the big thing to watch with the Badgers. So, massive signing. Like I said, great signing there for the Badgers. I mean, this could flip the script of what you could expect with Big Ten basketball. This could be one of those signings where barring what he comes in, he looks like he's a decent-sized guy coming into Madison. Barring what he's got, this could be a game changer for the Badgers there. Having two dominant or good post players. If Steven Crowell can, muscle up, play a little bit more aggressive in the post, this guy kind of possesses that same little attitude to him. It could flip the landscape. It really could. So, the Badgers made a massive move here by signing up Andrea Vukovic. There we go. Now we know. I just got the sounded out bite there. Fantastic stuff from the Wisconsin Badgers there. Great stuff to see. Great stuff to see the Badgers making moves, and hopefully more exciting stuff coming up over this offseason here, because I can't wait for Badger basketball to be back there in November. Right in November there, I believe we get back to Badger basketball. Can't wait. Can't wait to watch me some Badger basketball. But with that, before we move on here, I got to get to some sponsors of the show here quick. First, Game Day Supply in Alaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply in Alaska to help your team get the sweetest gear. Find them on Facebook at Game Day Supply or online at GameDaySupply.net. Also, Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. If you've been injured recently, whether pushing the lawnmower or weeding the garden, or maybe you were trying to dig a hole. I don't know why you were digging a hole, but you were digging a hole. And you felt something pop. You felt something tear. I don't know. You felt something. And you're like, I need to get some physical therapy. Stop in there and see Chad at Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. He will get you right. He'll get you back to mowing the lawn, back to picking weeds, weed whacking, whatever it is, digging holes, whatever you got going on. He'll get you back there. Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. Sports Scene, sports cards, and memorabilia, located in the Marshfield Mall in Marshfield, Wisconsin. If you're looking for sports memorabilia, jerseys, model stock cars, sports cards, whatever it is, you're looking for it, you're a hobbyist and you're just looking for some sports supplies, whatever it is, stop in there. Sports Scene in Marshfield, located in the Marshfield Mall. See Al. He has everything you need. Sporting cars, memorabilia, jerseys, model stock cars. He's got it all. You got to stop in there. Sports Scene in Marshfield, Wisconsin. Marshfield Motor Speedway is located just 3 miles outside of Marshfield on County Road H. You got to get down there this summer. Tons of family fun for all ages. Great food, great drinks, great atmosphere. What more could you ask for? Marshfield Motor Speedways in Marshfield, Wisconsin. Your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Call Peggy Sawyer Anna to find your dream home, or if you're looking to sell. Find them on Facebook at your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty, or stop in and see them at their location in Marshfield. And also Pittsville Farm and Home Center. At the store, they serve you anything from hydraulic hoses to red roses. Stop in and see the awesome crew at Pittsville Farm and Home Center in Pittsville, Wisconsin there. But with that, we got to get to the Brew Crew. We got to look at the Brew Crew. We got to look at the grand scheme of things in baseball right now. And the number one thing I want to start with is the power rankings entering June 10th, according to MLB.com right now. So I just want to go through the top 10. Top 10 in the MLB right now, according to MLB.com. See where our beloved Brewers sit. So right now, the Phillies are number one. That completely makes sense. I mean, you look at the record, look at this team. That's the number one team in baseball. Next up, the New York Yankees, who are only getting better. Garrett Cole working his way back. That team is only getting better and is getting better fast. So Yankees coming in the 2 spot. Dodgers in that 3 hole right now. They just have, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. They got a lot. Okay? They got a lot. They got a lot going on. Will Smith, you could just keep going down the line. You keep going down the line of players on that team. Fantastic stuff. Dodgers, I don't like them, but if you're a Dodger fan, good for you. Sitting in that 3rd spot right now. 4th spot comes with the Baltimore Orioles, followed by the 5 spot with the Cleveland Guardians. The Brewers come in that 6th spot right now, followed by the Kansas City Royals in the 7th spot, the Atlanta Braves in the 8th, the Seattle Mariners in the 9th, and the Twins in the 10th spot right now. Interesting stuff. The AL Central is usually the laughingstock of the league. Right now, 2 teams in the AL Central currently sitting in MLB.com's top 10 there in the power rankings. That's something to see because 3 teams. My mistake there. I forgot about the Kansas City Royals. You're talking about 3 teams in the AL Central sitting in the MLB power ranking top 10 with the Guardians, the Royals, and the Twins there. That is impressive. That is impressive stuff right now. If the White Sox didn't suck so much, they could probably be in there too. And then, you look at, divisions. Some of these divisions, you look at the AL East right now, the Yankees and Orioles up near the top. And then you look, NL East teams, you have the Phillies and the Braves in there. And then the AL West, you have the Mariners sitting there. I don't trust the Mariners, to be honest with you. I don't trust them. NL West, only 1 team in there with the Dodgers. And then you got the Brewers, the only team from the NL Central in that top 10 right now. So interesting stuff to see some of these teams floating around in MLB.com's power rankings there. I wouldn't complain much with these power rankings of all of baseball. This is about where you see it right now. You have the Phillies up top, the Yankees, followed by the Dodgers, then the Orioles. Guardians have been playing fantastic baseball. And then, the Brewers, they got to fill in there at some point. The Brewers have been playing well. And then you have the Royals, who have been hot, followed by the Braves, who have stayed consistent, even though they have a boatload of injuries, right? Acuna, Strider, you have 2 of your best players on the injured list, on the shelf for the year, and this Braves team is still finding ways to win ball games. Mariners, I don't trust them. Twins at the bottom there. Twins have been hot as of late. They went through a hot stretch start, cooled off, now they're getting hot again. See the Twins hanging out there, that 10 spot. Maybe, that's a potential team that could sneak up on the Guardians at some point there. But those are your MLB power rankings coming out of this last week here. So entering June 10th. So they will do another one next week for the power rankings there. Sticking with the MLB. And this story, I just saw it come across, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. So Ippy Misahura, whatever you want to call him there, Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, even better, Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, who was banned from baseball, all these court cases are going around and everything like that, was seen delivering food for Uber Eats. Okay, right? Standard person, you lose your job, you need money, you're supposedly a prolific gambler, you need to get out and do something. He starts working for Uber Eats. Now, he has been banned from delivering Uber Eats amid fraud scandal. So now he can't even deliver for Uber Eats. Why is this guy, and hear me out here, if he is currently on trial for millions of dollars, right? Why is this guy roaming around the streets? If we have such a it makes me think that there's something else to this case, right? Because if we have this hardcore evidence that this is the dude who did it all, Shohei Ohtani had no involvement, this was the dude who did it all, he stole all the money from Shohei, that's what we were supposed to believe and everything like that, why is he walking around delivering Uber Eats to begin with? Why? You would think he'd be locked up. Locked up, throw away the key, right? This is the fall guy. This is the fall guy for the whole Shohei Ohtani case. Yet he's still delivering Uber Eats. Makes me think there's a little bit more to this story. And then, you know what my honest opinion is? I truthfully did not care if he got a job delivering Uber Eats. Like, good for him. You got to get a job, right? And there's a lot of people out there who would do the exact opposite, right? Let's live off the government and everything like that. Just kidding. Just kidding. We stay family friendly here. But, I mean, truth be told, I don't get it. Why was this a story to begin with that he was delivering for Uber Eats? Now Uber Eats bounces back and they say, well, we can't have that kind of credibility or that kind of guy working for us here. So we're going to get rid of him now. Even though we knew he was here to begin with, now that the story's out and everybody knows about it, we're going to fire him now. We're going to ban him from Uber Eats. Why? If he's going to jail, send him to jail already, right? Why are we dragging this case? Makes me think that they don't have really the evidence that they need to put this guy away. That something is still fishy in this whole entire scenario because of why is he still roaming the streets? Why? Answer me that one. It doesn't make sense. It truthfully does not make sense. How can you be a free man right now if you have this major court case going on? Major court case. We're watching it with Donald Trump out there in New York right now. A little bit different circumstance, but still, we're talking about money, right? We're talking about all this money. He can't leave. Yeah, this guy's out here delivering Uber Eats. Makes sense? Probably not. I don't get it. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And I think Uber Eats, to heck with them, right? This dude, I mean, who knows? Is he guilty? Maybe. Is he not guilty? I mean, I'm leaning more towards not guilty once again. I already was leaning there. I thought this guy was the fall guy for Shohei Ohtani. This is kind of putting it even closer into perspective on that. So, I mean, to heck with Uber Eats, right? Let the dude work. He wants to deliver, Jimmy John's sandwiches for you or whatever you get off Uber Eats. He wants to deliver McDonald's to some guy. Let him do it. Let him get out there and do it, right? I mean, whatever. But here we are. We're going to completely just knock. What is he supposed to do, right? Live on the streets? Is that what's going to happen here? We're going to let this guy live on the streets because we won't give him a job. Everywhere he goes, they're going to, fire him from there because we don't want this guy because he brings bad publicity, he brings bad crowds, whatever it is. He brings badness into it. So we're just going to keep firing this guy left and right. Then what? And then, I mean, truth be told, what if this court case never happens? What if he never goes to jail? What if there's no repercussions to any of the crap that happened because they don't have the evidence to do it? Then what? How does that make Uber Eats look? How does that make any other employer that fires him look just simply because they didn't want a criminal? They didn't want a criminal in there. Even though he hasn't been proven a criminal, they don't want a criminal in there. Stupid. Just stupid. I mean, give me a break. Give me a break on that. So I just thought that was kind of my dumb story. Kind of my dumb topic to talk about there, just simply because it just doesn't make sense. The whole thing is just stupid. I really do think it's just, far out there. So with that, I want to get to the Brewers. I want to get into the Brewers here. Toronto, game one of that series. We watched it last night there. The Brewers pick up the win. Not a blowout, nothing like that. A pretty good game between the Brewers and the Toronto Blue Jays there. And we saw the Brewers strike the home run ball. Not a lot of home runs happening as of late to win this one. They had a home run. Jackson Churro had a big fly, and so did Willy Adames there for the Brewers. Actually, Willy Adames hit better than anybody on the night, if you really look at it. 2 for 3 on the night there with 2 RBIs for Willy. A good night. A good night for Willy Adames there. Kind of a bounce back. He had the sac fly there, and then he also had the home run that was, a solo shot. So 2 RBIs for him. Jackson Churro with the other RBI. That's all the Brewers needed. 6 hits in total. 4 for the Toronto Blue Jays in this game here. Alejandro Kirk did homer for the Blue Jays in this one. That was the scoring for Toronto. Looking at the box in this one, we saw Colin Ray get the start for the Brewers, and he was fantastic. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 0 walks for Colin Ray. I thought that was the most impressive part of the stat line. was to see Colin Ray with that 0 walk line. I mean, the Brewers did not walk a single hitter in this game. You look between Ray and Payamps and then McGill, not a single guy walked against this Brewers pitching staff. So that's great stuff. Great stuff out of them there. 5 strikeouts in total. Like I said, the 1 home run given up by Colin Ray, but 4 hits in total between those 3 there. That's fantastic. Fantastic stuff out of the Brewers pitching staff in this one. Looking at the lineup for the Brewers, a couple offers. A couple offers mixed in there. We did see Ortiz, Bowers, Churro. They all picked up a hit there, 1 for 3 on the game there. Churro did have that solo shot. And then looking up at the lineup there, Contreras with a hit, Adames with 2 hits and 2 RBIs. Outside of that, not a whole lot happening for the Brewers in this one. Only 8 strikeouts, though. A relatively lower number than what we're used to out of the Brewers. They're usually around that 10, right? They're hovering in that 10. 8 strikeouts. Not a bad night in any means there. The thing that was not so great for the Brewers, 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Not a great night there. Left 4 guys on base. Hitting with runners in scoring position has continuously been a problem for the Brewers. And the only way to fix that is situational hitting. Finding ways to put the ball in play. I mean, just the simple things, right? You can go out, you can make all these trades, right? We talked about it last week, but I saw people with the Pete Alonso. Let's get Pete Alonso to Milwaukee. Let's get, this guy to Milwaukee. Let's get this guy. Truth be told, you look at Pete Alonso, look at the average. Not a great average. He might hit you he's going to hit you a couple home runs in a week or so, right? But not a great average out of him right now. So is that going to be my huge RBI guy? He's always going to come through? I don't think so. I want guys who hit for average. So, that's your Blake Perkins right now. That was your William Contreras. I believe he will find his bat again, right? He's maybe a little fatigued. He had a lot of games in a row there and, had a day off. So maybe he starts to find himself again. Christian Yelich, you look at Yelich, that's a guy who has to be a big RBI guy for you. You pay him, you expect him to be a big RBI guy. As of late, he's been hitting the baseball, 280 over the last 7. Looking at his last 15 games there for Christian Yelich, and he's hitting 304 over the last 15. Over the last 30, he's hitting 315. So the guy's been hitting the baseball. It's just situational stuff. What can we do with guys on? And that can be a contagious thing, too. You're talking about hitting's contagious. You know that. We all know that. If you've played ball at any point in your life, at times hitting's contagious, right? If you're getting no hit and you're watching everybody in front of you get mowed down, going up there yourself and trying to hit, it's like you have confidence, but you're also like, I've seen this guy strike out 7 guys in a row now. This might be a tough at-bat. And you have that in the back of your mind, right? So, will the Brewers bust out of this kind of funk? I hope so, right? I hope so. I'm not saying that the Brewers can't add pieces. I'm never opposed to a team or especially the Brewers, being a Brewer fan. I'm not opposed to the Brewers adding a piece if it's going to be beneficial to them, right? If it's not going to cost them an arm and a leg, if it's going to be beneficial to them moving forward, something that they can utilize and be able to use off the bench or in a starting role that can produce, right, consistently for you. That's something that I look for when I'm looking for the Brewers to do something like that. I'm not looking for the Brewers to just jump on big-name guys just because we believe, oh, yeah, he can hit me 30 home runs. Okay, great. Reese can hit me 30 home runs. Yelich can hit me 30 home runs. Contreras, if he really got onto it, he could probably hit me 30. Willie Adames could hit me 30. Gary Sanchez could hit me 30. Jake Bowers, if he went on a tear, could possibly hit you 30, right? You could go through the lineup and you could say, this guy could hit 30. This guy could hit 30. This guy could hit 20. This guy could hit 15, right? We can go through the lineup all day long. At the end of the day, how often are home runs hit in the MLB? I'm not going to say that I have a statistical stat up in front of me that tells me how often a home run is hit. But I know if a guy hits 3 or 4 in a week, he's pretty freaking hot, right? The home run ball is flying. It's very rare for guys to hit multiple in a game, right? It's very rare. It doesn't happen a lot. So you put that in perspective. So now it's not all about signing guys with pop. right? Pop's great. I love dudes that can hit home runs, but when push comes to shove and you have a guy on the mound who doesn't throw, I mean, let's just say you have a sinker baller, right? You have, I'm trying to think of good sinker ballers out there, so I'm just going to throw a random name and you're going to hate it, but Adrian Hauser. Let's just go with Hauser. He was a guy where when he was right, the ball was on the ground, right? So let's just say you have Adrian Hauser on the mound, and he's throwing a complete gem of a game. Like, this is the best game he's ever pitched. The sinker's working, the fastball's working, everything is fantastic, velocity's great, everything just looks good. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't give up home runs, because I saw that with the Brewers, but everything's on. You have to find a way to put the ball in play. Whatever crap pitch you got to swing at, whatever pitch you got to swing at to put the baseball in play, you got to be able to do it, right? It doesn't always rely on the home run ball, because those guys that you're talking about who always hit the home run ball, when they get those kind of pitches on the mound, they become less effective if they can't find a way to hit for average also. You got to be able to hit for average too, because I'm not always looking for a home run. Second and third with one out, I'm not looking for a three. I would love a 3-run shot. That'd be fantastic. But I'm not looking for it. I'm looking for a base hit, wherever it is. I'm looking for guys who can hit consistently. Give me average. They have power in the lineup. Adames, Hoskins, Sanchez. Those guys all have power. They have power bats. They need consistent contact bats. Guys who can put the ball in play consistently to get on for the big guys, right? To get on for the RBI guys. Right now they have those guys, but the RBI guys aren't figuring it out. So that's something. I mean, you look at the Brewers' averages right now. I mean, you have Trag 302. You have Frelick at 254. Perkins has got that average back up 254. Ortiz at 285. You have guys in this lineup that are hitting with a higher average, right? I mean, you're talking about the top of the lineup. You have Contreras hitting 308 yet. You have Yelich hitting 315. Adames is hitting 248, which isn't fantastic, but it isn't terrible, right? So you have guys who are putting the baseball in play and making things happen. Consistently, no. With runners in scoring position, it's almost like the approach changes. Why does the approach change? That's what when you're coming up with second and third and one out, your approach should be, I got to find a way to put this ball in play. And if it's a pitch that's, hanging and I'm going to dip underneath of it, I got to put a charge into it. I have to hit it far enough back that this baby can be, a sac fly, right? Situational hitting. Knowing your pitcher, knowing what you got to do. And, even if you're looking at some kind of shift that they're running, maybe the second baseman's playing closer to second, right? Knowing hey, if I'm a little bit late, right field. And I know it's hard. I'm not saying that it's easy. You're playing in the MLB, for Pete's sake. Guys are throwing 99 to 100. It's a crazy, crazy hard thing to do is hit a baseball. But at the same time, it's okay, you got to have the situational awareness sometimes of what needs to be done in this situation. Because it seems like lots of times we are trying to get the home run ball. We are trying to hit the home run ball too much. And it's okay, just poke it out there, right? You hit it to the right side, second and third, one out. You hit it to the right side. You're possibly, maybe, potentially going to bring a run in, right? So situational hitting, knowing what you can do with the baseball to make things happen. That's a big thing with the Brewers. That's a big thing the Brewers have slacked on a little bit. And, getting hits with guys in scoring position has killed the Brewers. They are one of the worst teams with hitting with scoring position. And with the bases loaded, it's even worse. How is it worse? I don't know. Like I've always said, the Brewers could be the one team with bases loaded, nobody out. They would find a way not to score a run, right? They'd find a way. And it's something that the hitting coaches have to get on. Figure out if there's any if there's any tendencies, if there's anything that changes with some of these guys' approach when they come up with guys in scoring position. What changes in them? Because we've seen Yelich get hits with nobody on base or a runner on first, and then when his runner's in scoring position, he can't duplicate. He can't do that same thing. The pitcher might tighten up a little bit, might throw, trying to get a ground ball or whatever. But we've seen this guy be able to take multiple different styles and everything else, pitches, whatever you want to say, around the zone everywhere, and be able to poke it out for their hits, right? How does that transpire into it now? So that's on the hitting coaches now. They have to find this stuff. They have to figure out, okay, looking at this Brewers team, looking at the lineup, looking at your guys' approach with 1 out, with 2 outs, with runners on second and third, with the bases loaded. What does your approach look like? And that's where they really need to dissect. Maybe they're taking too many pitches. Maybe they're jumping on pitches too early. Whatever it is, they have to find what is going on, and they need to try and correct it. I don't think they're going to go out of house to, sign a new roster or add power, right? I don't need any more power. I need guys who are going to put the ball in play when there's runners in scoring position and make things happen, right? That's what you need. That's what you need. Just like Willie Adames did in this one with that sac fly. Runner in scoring position, put the ball in play, made it happen. That's what you have to do. Situational awareness, making things happen with your bat. So, getting off topic there a little bit, but, Brewers, 3-1 win over the Toronto Blue Jays. Great opening game for the Brewers. They will play again tonight. They have a 7-10 start for that one. We will see the debut of Carlos F. Rodriguez. Will be making his Brewers debut. Exciting stuff. Exciting stuff there out of the Brewers. I believe it was just announced, if I'm not mistaken. I was just going to go check that out there, searching the web, because it's announced on the Brewers website there, but I haven't seen anything reported any further than that of what's going to be going on. So I am just seeing, I just saw the starting pitcher is going to be Carlos F. Rodriguez for this one. So can't wait. Can't wait to see the debut of Carlos F. Rodriguez. Potentially, maybe he fills in and it's going to be fantastic. I don't know. I am hoping so, because there would be nothing better than the Brewers to finally find an arm that stays healthy for a little while. They have struggled with keeping arms healthy. And maybe Carlos F. Rodriguez comes in and he pitches a fantastic gem in his first game and everything smooths out. He's been pitching very well at the AAA level for the Brewers. Yes, he did starting out the season, he did struggle just a little bit. He had his struggles early on, but slowly started to kind of correct that. And over his last couple games, he has been pitching very well for the Sounds down there. I was just checking him out. I was going to pull up his stats there and his game logs, and you look at his last couple outings there. And in that game against Louisville, that was his last time out. He had 5 1/3 innings pitched, 1 earned run. He had 7 strikeouts in that game, 2 walks in total. Great stuff. Look at the game before that, and we're jumping on to back to May 30th there. 6 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs for his line there. 4 strikeouts in that one against Memphis. So, he's been pitching very well. Early on in the season struggled. He's been getting back to it here. Maybe, like I said, maybe this is the answer. Maybe we finally see the Brewers find somebody down there in the minors that can give us some solid stuff. He's got a solid fastball, solid breaking stuff. This is a guy who can work the plate for you. He can be a strikeout guy, but he's going to rely on, I think, heavily in this first game, the Brewers defense doing him a favor out there and making some plays. So, going to be interested to see Carlos F. Rodriguez in his first start there. But the injury report, I just want to talk about the injury report here as we wrap up. Not good news. Not good news. There's a couple different fronts where we're not having very good news right now in the pitching department. First off, just looking at the Robert Gasser front, because Robert Gasser right now, it is looking like he's going in for a third opinion, which if you don't get it answered by the second opinion isn't very good. The third opinion isn't great, right? It's like when I'm at work and I'm an electrician, so I'm hanging up pipe, right? Everybody's seen the pipe up on the walls. They run the wires through. And I'm looking at my pipe, and I look at it once, and I'm like, yeah, it looks good enough. And then I come back a second time because I got to take a second look at it, right? And I'm like, yeah, that looks good enough. When you go back a third time to have to look at that same pipe, something's not right. Something ain't good in there. This third opinion ain't good. This is telling me bad news. Bad news. Listening to Pat Murphy, not very optimistic on what's going to happen in the whole ordeal. He said, listening to him there, he said he's, optimistic, but, he doesn't want to roll it out, but basically, we're really worried because, the second opinion Gasser received said his UCL is not as strong as it should be, and he could rehab his way through it. He's seeking a third opinion now. So, not good news. Not good news whatsoever for Gasser there. Maybe he avoids injury, but, I'm guessing 60-day IL. I'm guessing a long stint out. Joe Ross also had a setback. He won't be returning as soon as he was hoping. Ross was planning to be back next week, but instead, he's now without a timeline to return. He had a back strain. Started with a back strain. Now he doesn't know. Now he doesn't know when he will be back. Also, in more troubling news, right? I got 3 pitchers with troubling news right now for the Brewers. I promise I'll get to one good news situation by the end of this. Jacob Junis was getting close to coming back. Had a couple outings there with the Nashville Sounds. Was pitching very well. Very well. This guy, he had a couple of different outings there where he'd go 4 innings with 4 strikeouts and everything was going good. The velocity was there. Everything was fantastic. And then he had a game in his most recent outing where his velocity dropped. And the Brewers got concerned about it because the velocity just was lost. They're now going to take him out of Nashville, and they're going to send him down to the Arizona complex down there at Maryville, and they will have him throw 4 simulated games down there. So instead of being a real game, it's going to be in simulated, kind of working through it without the pressure of a real game and just trying to get it right. Trying to get the velocity back, see if it comes back at all. D.L. Hall right now, another one. This is about the only good news on the pitching front there. Hall is actually going on his rehab assignment right now. He had his second opinion on his re-injured knee last week, chose instead to go with the first opinion he received. He's continued to rehab and is going to be back out to pitch in the minors to finish his rehab assignment there. So, it's going to be probably a little bit of an extended stint down there in the minors to try and rehab that, but hopefully see maybe DL Hall slowly making his comeback sooner rather than later. Hopefully that knee and everything checks out. The good news. I had to get some good news, right? Garrett Mitchell is currently being sent to the Arizona complex to start his rehab assignment. So that's good news, right? That's great news. That's what we wanted to hear. Something good, something great to come out of this whole injury report. Garrett Mitchell is slowly working his way back. And he could be back, I believe, as soon as June 17th was his possible return date there, depending on what the Brewers decide. But that's good news. That's good news to see Garrett Mitchell slowly working his way back. Can't wait because that poor guy, if he could stay healthy, man, oh man, I think he could be a good hitter. But you just can't keep that guy healthy. So hopefully we see Garrett Mitchell back with the Brewers, back in a Brewers uniform here pretty soon. That's going to be good stuff. But to end it here on the show, I saw a list according to the datapandas.org. Right? The datapandas.org. I don't know what that is. If it's like Panda Express, but for data, I don't know. But they have the worst states to live in, right? The worst states. What could you predict would be your worst state to live in? Number 1, I would say California. I could never live in California. But it's not the number 1. Louisiana is the number 1 worst state to live in, followed by Mississippi and then New Mexico. That's an interesting top of the lineup there. California is actually 27th on the list, but you'll be happy to know Wisconsin is 43rd on the list. If you had to think, I'll give a dramatic pause for you. If you had to think, which is the least worst state to live in? Which is the least worst state to live in? The state you would want to live in, what would you say? Dramatic pause, dramatic pause, dramatic pause. Washington. Wouldn't have guessed. Washington. Must be the trees. I don't know what it is because Washington's on there. Minnesota's 49th. I've met some Minnesota people. I've seen them drive on roads. You don't want to live in Minnesota, okay? You get into some of the bigger cities, it's a nut house. It's a nut house trying to drive around there on the freeway. I mean, just trying to get to an exit. It's like you got to swerve in front of 14 cars and say a prayer and hope that you don't hit a car. Like, that's all you're hoping for when you swerve around out there. It's crazy. When they come over here into the state of Wisconsin, I see them driving their nuts. They're going like 90 up there on Highway 29. It's like, slow her down. All right, bring her back down. It's like, where's the state patrol? I go 90, state patrol's right there. These guys from Minnesota, these ladies from Minnesota, they come over. It's like 100 miles per hour from Minneapolis all the way to Green Bay, and nobody even looks at them. No state patrol, nothing. But I go fast, there's state patrol. Don't get it. Don't get it at all. Definitely an interesting list there. If you haven't seen it, look it up. Look it up there because, I mean, some interesting, states that you wouldn't expect to be the worst places to live. I could see Oklahoma being towards the top. Oklahoma and Texas, a lot of tornadoes, right? Why would you want to live in Oklahoma and Texas during tornado season? I mean, and maybe I'd have my summer vacation. No, not even summer vacation. My winter in Wisconsin and out of storm season down there because it seems like they get tornadoes all the time going on around that area. So I don't know. Oklahoma, Texas, they just don't do it for me. They don't do it for me. So with that, that's about all I got for today. All I got, lots of good talk today. Darvin Ham to the Bucks, great stuff there. Badgers get a big man, a big-time recruit there in the Serbia native. The Serbia native there, Andrea Vukovic, coming to the Badgers there. A great ad for Greg Gard. Brewers get the game one win over Toronto. Big league debut of Carlos F. Rodriguez coming up tonight. Can't wait to watch that in game two there. 7-10 start for that one between the Brewers and Toronto, and all kinds of good stuff happening throughout the world of sports. So make sure you're tuning in. Wherever you find your sports, make sure you're tuning in, whether it's ESPN The Ocho or whatever it is. I tell you what, 2 o'clock in the morning, ESPN The Ocho, they have a kickball game on ESPN The Ocho. You don't want to miss it. If you miss it, record it because it's fantastic. There's nothing better than watching a bunch of grown men and ladies play kickball. Fantastic stuff there. So with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you did. Leave a review, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys are thinking Wisconsin sports-wise. Anything that you would love to hear talked about on the show there. But with that, like I said, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. But until I talk to you guys again tomorrow, deuces.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river, I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin, burdened by the heart of man. Down to the river, down to the river.